What is up, guys? Welcome back to a late stream. It's not my fault. I saw the live chat yesterday. I saw the live chat. I did not forget about y'all. We did not forget to go live. My internet went out. My internet went out between the hours of 4 and almost midnight yesterday. So, literally out of my control. Couldn't do anything about it. Didn't forget about you. I would never forget about you. Beautiful people, but 1 second. Should post. Come on, push the we're live to the Discord. Push it real good. Or not. I don't know. Tabarian. Let's do live with our OP13 limited set review stream. Actually, let me grab this for shillin' purposes. All right, there we go. How you doing, Ari? Ari just wants me to glaze up all the Zoro support. That's why he's here. No other reason. Why would he? Why would there be another reason? It's not like he likes me. God. Heaven forbid. Before we get into this, I need to check two things. The first, let's make sure a specific feature is on. Great. Okay, that's on. The second, and I'm gonna show this at the end, and I hope you guys will take time. So we have our first sponsored video from Bandai, and it is on the Learn Together decks. If you guys haven't seen already, we would appreciate it if you went and checked that out afterwards. Watched it all the way through, left a comment, click the little bit.ly link in the description as well. Very appreciated. Just leave as soon as the stream's done. I'll link it again. Just click that tab and walk away from your computer for a bit. Go do whatever you gotta do. What's up, Method? We are live. Here for the love of the game? Hell yeah, brother. Get paid to be here? No, never. Brother, I don't have a Porcus DA cereal in my hand. You ain't getting paid nothing. You ain't getting paid nothing. All right, today we're reviewing every single card in OP13 for limited play. Your pre-releases, release events are coming up this weekend. Gotta win those promos. They're hot as shit. Actually, let's just review real quick what you're playing for with those promos. I mean, they're drop dead gorgeous. Gorgeous. So check this out. So you're getting these regular versions just for showing up, you know, which is fine. But you want that foil. You want the foil. The foil version, brother. That's why we're here. Also, I just realized the logo is different. You got the 3rd anniversary logo on the regulars with the babies, and this is his 3rd anniversary winner. You know what? I gotta be real though. The logo with the children is nicer. It's way nicer, actually. Just saying. Gotta call as I sees it. Good news to you. I already watched that video. Great. Watch it again. Do it. We're gonna go over every single thing. If you haven't checked it out already, of course, my limited set review is up. Or not limited set review. My limited pre-release guide is up. That'll give you all the ins and outs and the full stat breakdowns of the set and a lot of the really big pillar things. Today we are only just looking at every card and grading the 1 to 5 how good they are for limited, and talk about what you should be looking out for and what you should be playing into your decks immediately. Thanks, Ari. First up, we're just gonna go in the Bandai order here. Monk Duluth Treasure Rare. It's Tankman, the very underrated, underused, underrepresented Tankman. 5/7 with blocker. If you have 5 more cards in your hand, this character cannot attack. It's gonna be pretty easy to make this thing attack unlimited. The card advantage is a lot lower, so this thing should be attacking and blocking with pretty ease. Eh. AOP Luffy is gonna be cracked out next set with new Rayleigh. Watch out. Okay. Bet. I mean, you're not wrong. You're extremely right. I've had a long day, guys. Oh, I've had a long day. But obviously, we're already playing this as a 5-7 vanilla. Like, we just play this all day. The fact that his blocker is just infinitely better. This is a nice 4. Nice 4. If you do play this and you get this pre-release, you're playing this guy. We're going to skip the leaders just because I'm going to basically grade these as if you're playing Rainbow Luffy. It's really hard to grade for both because cards just get really swingy otherwise. And at this point, because Rainbow Luffy comes in the promo pack, if your store isn't doing Rainbow Luffy, that's on them. They should just be. So we are going to skip over the leaders here and just move into only the characters and events and stages. We got Inazuma, 4/5 2K counter, so already playable in our decks. On play, give up to 1 Rested Dawn to your card to your leader. This isn't actually that bad. Like, it's pretty mediocre in terms of constructed. In terms of limited, where you just need to kind of like play a game of attrition, it's pretty nice that if you need to build a multiplayer sideboard, or you need to like mostly go in on power, but you want to build a body to make sure you can have enough swings to get through blockers on the following turn, being able to invest 4 Dawn into a lethal attacker and get 1 back for the combat is pretty great. It's pretty great for your tempo. And of course, a 2K counter just makes it already playable. So big ups on this one. I don't know if your average 2K counter is a 3. It's a 3.5. It's not a 4, but it's close. We never forgot. We never got the Martian. I literally had no internet from 4 p.m. till almost midnight yesterday. No one forgot. No one just said, "Oh yeah, we're not streaming." No. No one forgot. I literally cannot go live. Bye, Kazu. Have a good night. This will be archived for you if you need to check it out afterwards. Whoop slap. That's my mayor. 1/0 1K counter on play. Give 2 Rested Dawn cards to one of your Monkey D. Luffy cards. This card is just strictly bad. It could technically be a win more to like guarantee the kill at the end, you know, to get out of like counter card in hand range. But like, there's just no way to get this 0 to actually meaningfully attack in this format. So just playing it to get extra counter, or get extra power just isn't worth it. It just feels like a trap. It's not the worst card ever printed, but it's not great. So I'm gonna give it a 2. Magino is a 5 by so Magino is a 5, so by default shit. Okay. Let the limited reviewer do his job, Ari, alright? You sit back and play some Zoro. Can't play Zoro in this format. Ace and Sabo and Luffy, 1/1 for 1 with 2K counter, so we're already gonna play it. Active beam, you may give one of your active Dawn cards to your leader or characters. Trash this, give a character your opponent controls minus 3K for the turn. This card is so good and limited. This is a 5. It's a 2K counter minimum, and then it's reduction interaction that cost 1. Like, it costs attaching the active Dawn, but you're just doing that a bunch in this format and then go leader on character. So it's not like it's not like the Inazuma where like it has to go on leader, and putting the Rested Dawn on leader might be the worst option. This one will always give you the best option. So this card's super good and limited, super pushed. It's a 5. That's 3 boys for 5. That's 15. That's 15 points for limited. Emporio and Vakov, I think this is the Red Army Protector, right? 2/3 1K counter. If your Red Army type character be KO'd by your opponent's effect, you may trash this character instead. All these protection dudes are also traps. Technically, I mean, if you had enough of the subtype that mattered, you know, you can maybe play it. If you're playing with any leader and you could just play like Red Zoro or Red Sanji with cards like this, I'd be like prone to be like, yeah, that's fine. That's good enough. That being said, I don't think so in Rainbow Luffy. I think they're just strictly a trap, especially for the stats on them. With the exception of cards like the Dragon in this set, because it attacks as a real body. So this is a 1 for me. This is like I'd rather play Whoop Slap for, you know, as a combat trick essentially, than play the Sapporo Makov for sure. So 1. Curly Danon, 1/2 1K counter. If you have a mounted bandits type character other than this character gains double attack. Now, it is character, so your leader doesn't get to count, but you can have 2 copies of Curly Danon, and then they both gain double attack. However, I just don't. It's gonna cost 3. So your opponent's already incentivized to counter out of attacks or block attacks of double attack. And then for you already have to invest 3 Dawn just to make it hit leader. I just don't know what we think we're doing here. That's a 1. I'm gonna play Ace Sabo Luffy in my SC21 Luffy deck, as you should. It's just good. Like, you should just be playing that. That's correct. Yeah. That's a good call. Lordico 6/8 1K counter. It's a vanilla. We play that all day. It's a 3. The only real curly now is the OG goat herself. Exactly. OP2. I think that card's also, correct me if I'm wrong, which we're gonna check now. I think that card is like, it has like the 4 stamp or whatever. It's one of those cards that got shifted up for rotation. Rotation, no. Block. Your block number updates. I think the original Curly is. Yeah, baby! God, what a best card. What a best card, baby. So, we got Curly to Dawn options for a long time to come. Madame's rally deck coming in hot. Well, it's coming. Nefeltari Cobra 5/6 2K counter. It's a 2K counter. It's not a straight vanilla, but it's a 2K counter, so we play this. I think these are 3.5s. I actually think these are slightly better than the average 2K because they boast a big enough body where you're just okay playing it if you have to build board. So 3.5 on this. Second best waifu of all time. It's sure. Best mom of all time for sure. Nefeltari Vivi 1/2 1K counter on play. Search top 4 for Alabasta or a Straw Hat with 2 or more. Add it to your hand. Place the rest of the bomb your deck in order. Because this searches Straw Hat and there is a lot of Straw Hats in here, I do think this card is valid. And obviously you'll know when you open your pool, but I think statistically there should be enough and enough playables where you can get away with playing the searcher no problem here. So I am gonna give it, within the context of this set, I am gonna give it a 3, just to get some actual card advantage going on in card selection. We have Higuma 1/3 on play KO on your opponent's characters cost 0 or power 0 or less. That's a 1. It's trash tier. Porcasy Rouge. If you saw the guide, you know what's up. 1/0 2K counter. Trigger up to one of your Porcasy Ace cards, which includes your Rainbow Luffy leader, gains 3K power during the turn. That's huge. That's an absolute game breaker right there. If you get this trigger like at end of game. Or on the turn where they're supposed to alpha you and ignore your characters. Yeah, this card's a 4. It's only not a 5 because the trigger is like, it's luck based, right? But in terms of like the power of this card, it's a 4 for sure for limited. This is crazy. Makino Wano 2K counter. Activate main. You may rest his character. Up to one of your Monkey D Luffy cards gains 2K power during his turn. This is a 4 also. It's a 2K counter we already play. And then unlike Mayor, you get to activate main every single turn, give your leader 2K, which means your opponent has to interact with it. And if they have to interact with it, you're going to eat an attack or eat some resources. And then if they don't, you're generating 2 Dawn per turn. Also, unlike Mayor only gives Rested Dawn. This is activate main plus 2K. So if you're just trying to alpha, and you're just trying to stack as much Dawn value as possible, this gives you the full conversion. Whereas if you're like on 10 Dawn, you play Whoop Slap for 1. Whoop Slap only gives you the 1 Rested Dawn. And so you're not actually like generating more power. It only works when you're multiplaying. This works at every stage of the game. So this one's just infinitely better. This might even be, I can't give this a 5, but this card is extremely good and limited. Art's sick. I wonder why. Ari. Yeah, card's good. Muggity Gart, the best searcher ever printed for limited 1/2 1K counter. On play, if your leader is Sabo, Porcasy Ace, or Monkey D. Luffy, guess what? Your leader's all those. Top 4 search for a cost 3 or more card. Add it to your hand. Place the rest of the bottom of your deck in the order. You might whiff some, like, you know, events, right? Or some chump blocks and 2K counters, but you should inherently just not miss on this card unless you have a really unfortunate 4 stack. And this will just actually generate you real card advantage. It will dig you to your bombs and your threats. It doesn't matter what's in your pool. Like you're gonna hit something good with it. So we love this card. This is a 4.5. This is This is so pushed for limited specifically. Just around when you quantify like how this game is designed. This is such a push limited card. So Zonji, only issue is that it's not GARP searchable, and I want my 2Ks to be GARP searchable if I pull it. True, yeah, of course, but it's a proactive 2K though, not like one that you like. I would save this for last as a 2K because I'm gonna actually like probably commit it to board. I think there's a lot of universes where I just play this card out instead of holding it. So. Alt art's so good. What a fraud, though. Monk the Dragon, the one we talked about earlier. 6/7, 1. Hey, 6/7. 6/7, brother. 1K counter. Once returned, if a Rev Army type character be removed from the field, not KO, but removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may give this character minus 2K during the turn. This one is fine. It counts itself, which is really good. So it has innate protection from card effects. If you do protect something else, you know, that's pretty good. But 6/7, already a great number. Already good enough to put to board. You're definitely chopping it off if you have some better, like, 1K power over cost cards with, like, on-play effects or stronger effects, or if you just need to have more room for vanillas, right? But in a world where your pool isn't so good that you're cutting because you have just so many good options, you're definitely making this card. Solid 3, for sure. Yeah. Can't be huge. It probably will be, honestly. Yeah, the Rouge art is really nice, too. Much mutation. We got the Wapple 6/7 2K counter. Yeah, I mean, we just play this 3.5 2K counter and a Fidel. But Ace here said you deserved it. 1K, or sorry, 1 cost dual modal. So 1 cost, you counter, your leader gets plus 3K for the battle, and then you pay 4 on the main side, so 5 total. Give to one of your opponent's characters minus 3K during the turn, then KO a character with 3K power or less. I think this card is underrated how good it is. It's never going to, like, get the best thing on the board with that, right? You know, it can only kill a 6. But if you just, like, this card, most of the time, what you'll probably do with it, if you're not countering with it, is pay 5 to reduce the biggest thing on their board for the multiple swings on it, and then remove the chump blocker that kind of made the math easier for them to protect it, and instead now demands the cards from hand or demands the card off the board. So I think this is quite good because at worst it's always going to be a 1/3. So this is a 4 for sure. Wildbar is amazing for no reason. Yeah, this is it's really good. It's really good. The effects of like the leg, the sprinting is really nice. Meteor Fist. This is a 5. I'll just say right now. 3 cost main, just give minus 5K for the turn with trigger activate main. If this didn't have trigger, I give it like a 4. The fact that you can just trigger counter 5K with this is, like, nuts. The fact that you can main minus 5K with this for 3. Like, it just means, like, if you're going second and you have Meteor Fist in your deck, you just mulligan for Meteor Fist. And then when they go over the top first, you brace for the first hit, and then you immediately dismantle the board at, like, no cost, leaning on the Meteor Fist. Like, it's just so good. It's just so good, dude. Also good is Gungam Gatling Gun. The card I forgot to put in the slideshow. I didn't forget. It just didn't get in there somehow. I don't... The way I did it, it just took all the files and should have put them into my markers, but missed this one. 1 cost main event, but you give the rest of Dawn back to your leader. Or, sorry, your Monkey D. Luffy card, which is probably going to be your leader. Give out to one of your opponent's characters minus 2 for the turn. So you pay 1 Dawn to make a 3 Dawn boost, because you equip the Dawn and then you give something minus 2. But then every additional attack you make on the character, you generate more Dawn value because they have to do it at that minus, at that, like, point spread again. Trigger minus 2K for the turn is also great, you know, just 2K counter on trigger. This card's great. This card's common also, like, this card's uncommon, rightfully so. This is a common, dude. Like, you have to constantly play around this card. I think one of the big... I didn't talk about this in the pre-release guide, and I probably should have. I think that one of the bigger skills of this pre-release is going to be knowing when to just not swing out. Like, knowing when to play your thing, untap with the thing, know it can attack, but not attack yet because you're still in chip mode right now, and just forcing your opponent to, like, blink first kind of vibes. I think it's going to be a really big skill for general tempo control and winning your matches. Windmill Village, 1 cost stage, activate main rested over your character's 2K base or let's get 1,000. Absolutely useless, it's a 1. On the green, we got Uta, the 4/5 SR with 1k counter. On play, set 2 cards as active. You cannot play characters base cost 5 or more. On KO, play up to 1 character with a cost of 5 or less from your hand rested. Playing it rested is actually quite bad in this format, because if you're attacking into this, like, you're fine to attack into another character. You're usually just doing board control a lot of the time in the format. So, by that regard, not the best. I mean, if it's their last attack, right, you just get to replace the character, it's going to be quite good, obviously. If you can somehow get an on-play effect off, also quite good. But playing a 4/5 on, like, going second, right, playing for 4, and then resting 2, swinging 7, make sure a hit gets in, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Probably just a 3, though, honestly. This is not... In terms of limited, this is not playing like an SR. If you hit this, like, everyone... Usually you're, like... you get 1 and 2 SRs on average on your pulls, or higher, right? Secrets or whatever. If this is one of your SRs, in my opinion, this is, like, worse than a lot of uncommon characters. So, or at least as good. And you're definitely looking for bombs. Gordon, 1/0 2k counter. On play, reveal a music or film type card for your hand. Set 2 Dawn as active at the end of the turn. This has literally, like, no place in the limited environment, but it is a 2k. So we'll play it for 3, but, like, you're just never playing this card on board. It's just a nice, you play in your deck, 3 out of 5, gives you 2k counter. Do not play this card on the board. This card, however, snaps, dude. This thing is, like, crazy for a comp. 5/6, 1k counter blocker. On play for leader as film, it will. Or strike, it will. Set of Dawn is active. So it's a 5/6, you play it on curve, right? You make a 6 power blocker, so your opponent has to commit Dawn to swing in on your leader next turn. And then in addition to that, your leader still swings 4/6. So you're demanding cards. Remember, 2k gaps, extremely powerful and limited. We're going to want those all day, every day. So super happy to play this guy. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 4. Sunny Kun as well. This is one of the cards I really, like, kind of picked out in the guide and was like, hey, we got to really, like, talk about how this works. So there's a 1/2 1k counter. Activating once per turn, rest a Dawn. This character gets 2k until the end of your opponent's next turn. So for 1 Dawn, you make it a 4 after playing it for 1. So it costs 2 Dawn to let this thing attack. Do not play this card on curve and swing out with it. It's not worth the Dawn investment. Do play this card in your deck. So if your opponent, like, really goes for board control, and you're on a wide strategy, or you need a few hits to get through blockers or whatever. So you can establish 2 characters in a turn, or put almost all your Dawn onto attacks for characters 1 turn, and still build the extra body you need. Because once you're at 10, the investment's really easy to make, especially when you get to commit it to the board for 1. That's like 0 cost. But do not commit this on curve and then turn it sideways on curve. That's not what you want to do. If you're committing it on curve, it's because you have extra Dawn. You're like, I might as well do it now, you know? I have extra Dawn. Normally, though, you're going to be like, I'm on 9 Dawn. I'm going to swing for 2 with leader on something. Swing out my other characters. And then pay 1 for this. And then have 6 left to play something else and pass. Greatest so many broken commons for pre-release? Yeah. Yeah. Green just inherently, by the design of the color, is always going to offer really good pre-release cards. Because it's about mid-range tempo. Which means it's good in the middle of the game. It's good in the early game. And it's good at the end of the game. And they're also really flexible at all those positions. They're also very body-based, so you're almost always getting good power for the cost, but not anything, like, absolutely crazy. They just, like, make up a good core of your deck. This one's a rare, though. Sanji 5/7. On play, set 2 of your Dawn cards is active. End of your turn, if your leader is from a Straw Hat Crew, set 1 is active. I mean, this part could be relevant. There are a few events in the set that matter. Mostly we're playing this as a 5/7 on tap 2 and then swing 7, you know? On curve or whatever. Notably, this one does not have an untap cost restriction of, like, you untap Dawn and you can't play cost X or more. So if you're on 10, you can play this for 5 and then play a 7. It's really good. Give this a 4 for sure. Maybe a 4.5. This card's actually quite good. Oh, this alt art's crazy. Look at that, dude. Shanks here. This is a card I flagged that, like, it just wins games. Like, this card just single-handedly wins games because it's a 10-12 on play set, all your Dawn is active, and then you just can't play more cards from your hand this turn. But especially with how slow limited goes, how little interaction there is, and how few bombs players have in general, let alone actively having the bombs in your hand from your deck because card selection is bad. What this card says is establish a 10 Dawn play and then still take your 10 Dawn turn combat. So in terms of game actions, you're taking 2 turns worth of game actions with 1 card. And they're the best turns game actions because they're valued at 10 Dawn. So this is insane. This is an absolute 5 for limited. If you pull this card, congratulations. I talked about a guy like, you just gotta kind of remember this card exists and try to set your opponent up for the worst turn where they do play this card. But honestly, I think that's just like playing good into a limited player in general. I don't know how you can really actively play around the card, but yeah, this card's crazy. Oh no, I'm out of water so early. I gotta say it. Synergies is better. Synergies is definitely better. Jimbe 6'7", 6'7", 2K counter. Play for 2K. It's also vanilla, 3.5. It's not quite a vanilla, 6'7", but you know. We love 6'7" here. Toyo Chopper, 5'6", 1K counter on play. Set the 2 cards as active on play, so this is quite good. 3.5. I mean, it's literally Sanji for 1K less, but you get counter, so. Sanji's a 4. This is definitely a 3.5. All these films, and this is uncommon, right? Sanji's rare. This is common. Like, how many more commons are there exactly that are gonna be like everywhere? Oh, Arya's turn. Trafalgar Law, 6/6. If you have 1 or less life cards, gains blocker. On play, you may return one of your characters to your owner's hand. Play up to 1 character card with a cost of 5 or less for your hand rested. This is also a reason why we want to have Sunny Coons in our deck too, is because otherwise we don't want to play like any 1-drops basically in the deck, or like we have Makino and stuff, right? But generally it's like we're not playing these cards to the board as like a combat game plan. But then you get rewarded when you're playing Law in your deck for just like tapping out that 1 to play the Sunny, to then end up multiplaying, like essentially because you're not doing anything with the Sunny anyway, you're pre-playing it. You're like actually upgrade it into a 5-cost body or 4-cost body that is a relevant attacker. And then you could probably still even play the Sunny that turn if it's not like perfect Dawn curve, right? So yeah, the tempo it generates is just crazy. So just another reason to play that card. This card, extremely good. I wouldn't say it's a 5, because the value of the card is really based on the value of the card you play and the value of the card that you return to your hand, which, because we don't have great card selection and we're not playing like a bunch of searchers and stuff, right, is quite low compared to constructed. So I think I'm gonna get a 4 for limited, but the people who really utilize this card are gonna get like crazy value out of it. Yeah, and like Zonji said, there's a lot of really good 5-drops to combo with. That's something. Whenever there. Nico Robin, 7/7, 1K counter on play up to 1 of your opponent's characters, costs 8 or less. Cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next phase. So that means they can't attack. It also means they cannot block. They cannot rest to activate card effects or pay cost. This card's really good. It basically, it's not the same as the Shanks, obviously, because it doesn't just win games. It doesn't take 2 turns. But if you've done proper board control, like if you're in control of board control, right, which means you have your opponent on 1 character or 2 characters and one is infinitely worse than the other one, just playing the Robin and be like, I'll just swing on leader because you only have 1 attack anyway with leader, and your choice is suit up leader and not build in our body, in which case I'm winning the body race, or swing 5, I counter out of it and you play your body and then I'm untapping all my stuff again, which you get to suit up next turn. It's both a, it can catch you up when you're behind, and if you're ahead, it'll just start to really widen that gap to a level that's really hard to come back from. This is a 5 for me. Frankie 3/5 on KO, rest up to 2 of your opponent's cards. We're gonna play against vanilla statted as a 3, but it's almost a 2.5 because it doesn't have counter, and the on KO, the effect you're getting out of it is like basically useless. The one decent thing about it is that, like, because you're supposed to play board control in this format, if you present the Frankie, they do have to attack your board in a certain order. So like they have to attack your bigger things first if they're trying to clear all your board, because if they attack the Frankie first, you'll just remove their additional attacks. And he can remove blockers, which is nice. Like, you do have to like play around him, but he just gives your opponent too many choices is the actual problem. And a good player is just not going to give you the value, right? Brook, 3/4, 1k counter. On play for leader is Film or Straw Hat Crew. Set up to one of your Dawn cards is active. I could see playing this if you really need some filler spots in your deck. Just because the turn it's basically a 2/4. And it's kind of like the Sunny thing where it's just kind of good later. Where you don't mind suiting it up because you're going to have extra Dawn. But it's definitely not a first choice. I think the only reason I put this in my deck is if I don't have enough 3s or 4s in my deck. If I have a good chunk of 3s and 4s, I'm probably just not playing them at all. Unless I have VV and I'm increasing my Straw Hat hits. But cards like a 2.5. Beppo, 5/7, end of turn. I can't believe this card's common, dude. This is going to be a nightmare. End of turn, set one of your characters or Dawn cards as active. Spoiler alert. You're always going to set the Beppo as active unless it's the turn you played it. And you're going to set the Dawn as active against your only target. Yeah, this card just can't get attacked into. And it swings 7 on a 5 leader every single turn. It's crazy. I mean, the only thing that makes it crazier is to have blocker. Thank God it isn't a blocker. This card's nuts. It's a 5. If I was to pick for the strongest pre-release card with the context that it's common, you'll probably pull 2 or 3 of them if you're lucky at 7k. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it's... Yeah, like, it's definitely the strongest common. And it's definitely stronger than most uncommons. I think, like, from what we've gone over, I would put the Robin higher. Because, for example, like, when your opponent is ahead, this doesn't help you because it's not a blocker. The Robin does. And it helps you when you're behind as well. Or when you're ahead as well. There was also, notably... Where was it? I think the Meteor Fist might be better than the Beppo. Because the thing is, like, the Beppo is, like, crazy when you play it on curve, right? Because it just removes choices from your opponent, right? But there's a lot of things that out it, even in the active. And there's a lot of things that it doesn't actually help. Whereas, like if your opponent goes places a better, bigger, more expensive, rarer card, right? It's just going to out the Beppo. But if you can just play a vanilla 5/7 with no ability, and then have, like, Meteor Fist to remove it, then you're just winning, right? Because it's about game tempo. Beppo inherently generates you a lot of game tempo, but it can't, it only generates you, like, game tempo on a curve. Later in the game, it really doesn't do nearly as much. Especially when you're getting into, like, the really nitty-gritty resource game, where there's a lot of times where if you're actually, like, up against it and you played properly, you kind of want to force your opponent to be swinging up into a 7k, so a 5k leader, instead of taking the gamble of, like, well, if the life is brick and they're forced to my life, I'll just lose, right? So I get what you're saying. As a common, it's, like, undisputed best. Not even close, but I think, I don't know. I think there's quite a few uncommons that are still better than it, let alone rares. That being said, it's quite good. And it's going to be a nightmare for people. Helmetbo, 5/6, 2k counter. 2k counter, we play it. It's also good body on board. So, nice little 3 there. Beppo's a 5, though. I think I already said that. Beppo's a 5. 4/5, 1k counter on play. If your leader has the types it will have, set up the 2 Dawn cards as active. So it's basically a 2/5, and then end of turn set as active like Beppo. Quite good. Is also a 5 for all of those reasons. This card is like, and again, like, sorry about this, right? Like, this card is arguably better than Beppo because he's so cheap and he offers flexibility counter, right? Like, Beppo forces cards from your opponent's hand, but like I said, it's worse later in the game. This is better later in the game because it lets you multiplay properly with your sequences. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, Beppo is really good when you play him on the best turn possible. What makes other cards better than him is that they're equally good, if not better, than him on his best turn on multiple turns. And that's kind of what the real difference maker is. Especially when you don't have, card selection. This card is extremely good. That's your boy. That's your boy, Aryan. Gum Gum Elephant Gun. 2 cost main event. Rest up to one of your opponent's characters cost 5 or less. Then set 2 Dawn cards as active. Unfortunately, that's at the end of the turn. So again, it's really not going to do too much. There's a few counter events in this set. You got to be worried about one of them specifically, but not the best. Trigger rest up to one of your opponent's characters cost 5 or less. That's quite good. We already play it because it's main interaction. Triggers is bonus. Green may be the go for this pre-release. Yeah, like I said earlier, like it typically is. Zoro and Beppo on 7, yeah. For my opponent to never swing into the... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, card's a 3. Card's a good 3. This card, I can't tell how it's good it's gonna be. I think there's just not enough 4s and 3s in this set. Like the 4s and 3s you do play are very good, like Zoro here, right? But I don't think there's a lot of like 4 6s, for example, in this set. So I don't think it'll be like as good as typical like in other sets it's been. But 2-cost counter, KO a 4 or less, rest a character, activate main for trigger. I just don't think there's enough targets. I still think I give this a 3 because it's like super cheap, good removal. But it also happens. It happens in counter, which is bad for removing blockers, but it's rested anyway. But better because your opponent can like commit resources and then you just get them, right? Like imagine they swing with their 3/5 for 7 because it puts you Dawn on it. Oops. And then you just blow them out with this. Like that's crazy. But I think the set's pool just isn't ripe enough for targets, so I'm gonna give it a 3. I think you don't call it because it seems like the best card. Wait, I think you don't because it seems like the best cards with some exceptions are 5+. Yeah, exactly. Yep. I know you're strong, so go all out for the very start. Is our green dual modal event. 1 cost for 3k counter, 3 costs total up to 2 of your opponent's characters. Cost 7 or less will not become active in the refresh. This card's crazy. I'm not even joking when I say that this is just Electrical Luna. Obviously you're not getting the whole board, but if your opponent has more than 3 characters that are attackers, right? You're either so far ahead you don't care and you don't need a card like this, or you're so far behind that this card doesn't actually catch you up unless you just like high roll your opponent on the life, right? So for all intents and purposes, this is Electrical Luna. And it's Electrical Luna with 3k counter. So I gotta give it a 4. This might be a 5, actually. I'm actually giving it a 5. This card's really good. In other sets, this might not be a 5. There's a little less removal or like meaningful remove characters from interaction in this set compared to others. So I think I'm gonna give it a 5. In other sets, I might just give this a 4 or 4.5. Well, is that the Luna rarely gets more than 4 or more than 2? It's just that, like, unlike in Constructed, where people's boards reasonably get to, like, 4 real characters, because board control is the main priority in this format, and the format is slower. If your opponent has 4 reasonable attackers on board, it's usually a game state where this card isn't going to save you, or you don't need it because you're so far ahead. Izo owns a blue 5/6 1k counter on play draw 2. Quite good filler card. I think there's just like not a lot of straight vanillas in this set, to be honest. So having just like a lateral 6/6 is a little bit better than in normal, because there's gonna be a lot more like 1k more than the cost instead of 2k more than the cost. That being said, I can definitely see cutting this card. I think the real question is how much interaction do you have, how many bombs do you have? The more bombs you have in your deck, the more likely you are to want to play a card like this, because it just digs you for those cards that will entirely warp the game while making a real body. If your deck is more just like kind of mostly average Joe cards, then you're going to be less likely to run this card because you want to be more impactful on your individual turns and having like, oh, I'm going to dig for this card that will catch me up hugely. Oh, my nose is so itchy today. Whether or not I needs to like make a choice. Oh, so maybe a 3. Didn't give it a grade, but it's a 3. Speed cards just win you the whole game. Edward Newgate. So if you have Edward Newgate in your deck, you're gonna play Izo for sure. Just to go find it. 10-12 blocker, so it does something the turn you play it, and then also does this when you play it. Draw 2, trash 1. Give your leader up to 1 character, 2 rested Dawn cards each. That's basically a 6-12 because you get 4 Dawn back for the turn, and then you essentially get a free block. Yeah, this card is Nutty Professor. This is also another good reason why that Robin's quite good, because let's say, you know, you played board control correctly. Your opponent goes for the Edward Newgate tap out. I guess it swings on you. Oh, sorry, the Robin can't target this. That's right. Robin's 8 or less, so you actually can't. But in a world where you could target it, right? This is why cards like the Robin would be good, because it would remove the blocker and then let you just get it in 2 turns in a row. Well, also not letting it attack, but yeah. This card's a 5. I mean, this is like Shanks. I don't know how you come over it. I think the way you come over it is the draw 2 isn't that good. And you mitigate your opponent's board where they only really get 2 drawn on leader. Like, there's nothing to put the other 2 for character. Or it's just like a blocker, they're not going to attack with, right? But, yeah, most of the time, this will probably just be GG's. Otama, 1/0 2K counter. I'll play if you have 3 less life cards, draw 2, trash 1. We already played for a 2K counter. I think this is still quite good, though. Paying 1 unlimited just to dig 2 for your bombs is extremely good. And you usually take life early to, like, kind of concede that, like, board control is the game. So you want to make sure you have counter for when they go for your board. So having this activated is also not that hard. It's rare, thank God. I think this card was, like, uncommon. You open 2 or common. You open 3. Like, this would be so pushed. But yeah, this is good. This is a 4. Curial 3/4. When attacking, give Arrested to one of your Whitebeard type leaders or characters, Whitebeard Pirates. On KO, draw 1 card. Good thing about this card in Limited, I think it's still just filler, but I could see this card being pretty good because it essentially, you know, it swings as a 3/5. It can also make the leader bigger, specifically if you need to, while attacking like a small thing rested. But I just don't think there's enough small bodies. I think in a format where there's more 3/5s and more 4/6s to play, I think a card like Curial here would be something we could definitely consider because you get it down early enough where you're going to really generate some value with it on the tempo. I just don't think there's enough things early enough in this format to challenge that will make him good. And so for me, it's a 2. I think the Shanks is a scarier card, honestly. This is the second scariest card. The Shanks just, like, you just need no setup for this card. This card just does it all regardless of what's on your board, you know? It's just so good. Like, this card doesn't do it all if you don't have a board. Like, tapping out 10 for an 8/12 blocker is, like, it's obviously huge, but it's, like, fair also. I guess you're tapping out 10, you're gonna make it a 7 swing leader, right? It's only when you have, like, the other characters to back it that this card is extremely good. Whereas, like, the Shanks, it's like, you can make it 12k and then still swing 15 leader on a character your opponent controls to remove something. I just think that's quite a lot better. Here we go. Haruda Matata. 1/2, 1k counter when attacking. If you have 4 less cards in hands, draw 1. I don't think we play this card because you need to make sure you're playing officially on curve and limited, and so drawing the card later isn't good. Also, again, you're typically not going to go down when you go down cards in hand quickly and limited in a format that's about board control. It just makes the future math of your opponent's turns so much easier for what they need to do to remove the cards. And then when they're removing your cards, they're also starving you because you're not taking life, so you're not rebuilding card advantage or digging for the cards that matter. And so a card like this, I think it isn't in line with the gameplay of a limited format. So for me, it is a 1. It's probably worse cards, but I think it's such a trap, I want to give it a lower rating. Vista 6/8 double attack once per turn. If this character be KO'd or be removed from the field by an effect, may trash 1 card, including Whitebeard Pirates, from your hand instead. Quite good. This card is so good, I would consider running, like, mediocre Whitebeard Pirates cards in my deck just to fill out, to have cards for this. Like the reason to run Curial is because you have Vista in your deck. And you just want to make sure you're insulating this Vista. Because not only do they have to swing 8 into it, right? So, like, aside from their own natty 8 and above, they're having to invest material, like invest on. But it just gives you so many ways to 1k out. Like, they almost, like, unless it's a natty, it's like you just never swing 10 on this, right? Because they're, like, at least the first one's a 1 card out, regardless. And then has double attack to make up the ground from fighting for board. This card's are really good. This is a 4.5. It's not quite a 5 because you do need a specific type. A specific type to insulate it, but the insulation is extremely good. Close to 2/3, 1k counter. If your character, including Whitebeard Pirates, be KO'd by opponent's effect, make trash this card instead. Again, these cards are not good too, but because Vista exists in your deck, you consider running this just to fill out Whitebeard Pirates, have it for counter. Flamenco 5/6 2k counter. Play those all day. 3.5. Blenheim 6-7 2K counter 6-7 3.5. Again, these are quite good, and they'll also reinforce the Vista. Boa Sanders. Did y'all see the new Boa Hancock card today? The Gorgon Sisters card. That card is crazy. That card's so cool. Oh man. Anyway, 2/3 1K counter. On play for leaders Boa Hancock. Play a Boa Hancock with 3 or less from your hand. You are never gonna play this one. This is a 1. You will play this Boa, and you will play this Marigold, which is the better one. This Boa, 3/5 on KO if your leader is Boa Hancock, or multicolored your leader is both. Draw 2 cards. You'll have a multicolored leader, and you'll have Boa Hancock leader. So easy. 3/5 on curve, and then you just get cash back on it. 4. And then Boa Marigold, 5/4 1K counter with blocker. So you're already gonna play for blocker, especially if the blocker costs 1 Dawn to swing out with it. Great. But then if your leader is what it is, because you're playing Rainbow Luffy, you can play a Boa Hancock 6 or less. So you have these both your hand, like 5 Dawn, establish 9K power across 2 bodies, and then 4K if it can block, meaning you have 5K left to swing on leader 5. That's great. You can't ask for more than that. So this is a 4. This is like a 3.5, but it'll play like a 4.5 if you got this in your hand for sure. Martial Teach 4/5 1K counter. 1 attack, you may trash one of your characters with Whitebeard Pirates. Draw 1 card, and this character gains banished during this turn. So here's the thing with this card, is that this card is fine. I don't think it's good. I think you only really want to play it again if you have the Vista in your deck. But it's like, even then, unless your hand is just like chock full of like Whitebeard Pirates, you're not going to want to use the 1 attacking effect because you're removing your Whitebeard Pirate count for the Vista protection. So even though you're drawing a card to replace it, you know, you're drawing a more likely than not Whitebeard Pirates card. So that's kind of like the weird trade-off there. I think it's like a 2.5. There's just better things to be doing, but exists. I think it's banished. Just remember it exists. You can definitely like lose tempo to this card for sure. Yamato 5/6 on play. If you have 3 less life cards, draw 2, then give 1 Rested Dawn to your leader. It's just another example. Like you go. So you just never play this on 5 is the thing, because you're just never gonna be at 3 life. But like being able to be like 10 Dawn, attach 5, play this, draw 2 is pretty good. Attach 6 total with the on play ability, giving you rested. It's almost a 5. It's a 4.5. This card's great in every format. Rakio 3/4 1K counter. When attacking, you have 4 less life cards in your hand. All your characters with the type Whitebeard Pirates gain 1,000 during this turn. Again, just quite good for what it is. I think the one thing to remember is that it doesn't affect your leader. So this is one of the better ones to play to like help your Vista count. And I don't think I'm ever actually playing this outside the Vista count one. And I might not even commit it to board even then. But if you have nothing else going on with your hand, I would probably pre-play this on 3 rather than not play a 3-drop. Because it will just natty swing 5 at some point. You just gotta hold it back. You just don't commit Dawn to it. You just keep it back until it does swing natty 5. And then if you just build like 1 more Whitebeard Pirate card, you're gonna get some good value off of it. But inherently, it's like more of a trap, or I'm gonna give it 2.5. Could play off wall when at 6. Sure, yeah, if you go second curve, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's having your cake and eating it too. Better get some more water actually. Give me 1 second, guys. Throat's just like, yeah. Little Oars Junior for leader includes Whitebeard Pirates type, draw a card when attacking. This is great. Even though it's symmetrical 7/7, there isn't a lot of like 7/9s or 8/10s in the format. So having it be symmetrical in this this set's format is actually just fine. And then you're making up for it by drawing a card. And so if you just draw a 1k counter, right? Even if your opponent has like the 7/8 or it has like the 7/9, I mean. By drawing a card, you're basically making it more of a 7/8 when they try to crack back in on it. So this card is strictly amazing. I think I underrated not putting this on the chart. I think it's just obvious how good it is, especially at common, where I just was like, I don't think I need to explain this one. But in terms of it like being like everything that's on my chart from the main video, this card should be like looked at as like being like as powerful as they are. Ooh, okay. If I bow down to power, what's the point in living is the blue dual modal. So 1k, 1 cost, 3k counter. Main, rest one of your additional dawn cards. And then if your life is 1 or less, your opponent can't activate blocker when your leader attacks. So remember, the wording on this is not great. It's for the leader's attack, not they cannot activate blocker for the turn once your leader has attacked. So if you attack with leader, they can't activate blocker. But then if you have another attack after the leader, they can activate blocker. It's not the best localization or text templating, but that is exactly how it works. It is the only card that makes things unblockable in the set. It is a rare. You do need to remember exist. In terms of just straight dawn math, this card leaves you with 8 dawn, so your leader can attack 13 unblockable. If they have a Makino in hand, they can attack up to 14 unblockable. So just be aware of that. This is a 5 because it gives you unblockable. It gives you unblockable for 2, and at worst you just say okay 3k for 1. Like, how is it not a 5? Card's crazy. Phoenix Pineapple, 1 cost. Oh sorry, yeah, blue and purple have 2 dual modals. Black has a few, but they're all like emu stuff. They're not like true dual modals. Counter, your leader gets 3k for 1. Main, rest another dawn. Place a 3k or less power on the bottom of your owner's deck. This is mostly going to hit blockers, which is fine. We're super down for that. I think you play it regardless because of the 3k counter. But remember, cards like Gum Gatling and Meteor exist in this set. So with those cards existing, you can hit up to a 5 or an 8. And for the Meteor, so that's 5 dawn, 2 cards, get an 8. For Gatling, it's really just 1 dawn because you get the other dawn, or 2 dawn because you get the other dawn back from the Gatling side. This is 4. This is a 4 that can even play like a 5. Like, it's so good and limited. Specifically in this set, because the set just doesn't have a lot of straight removal compared to other limited sets. You're gonna see a lot of value out of this card for sure. Brilliant Punk, 4-drop, return one of your characters, and then return a 6 or less to the owner's hand. You can return your own. You're probably not going to ever do that. So you're really just going to return one of your small dudes, and then return one of your opponent's 6s or more. Again, it's another reason why we really want to put some value on the Makino and the Sunny-kun. I kept wanting to say Leo. Sunny-kun 1-drop. Because they cost so cheap that they're basically free when using the cost of this. Makino, if you played it, and then you activate it, and then return it with this, you're just so far ahead. Yeah, this card is one of your better removal pieces overall. That being said, if you don't build your deck with cheap cards to return the hand for this, it's actually going to be like really bad on your overall tempo. And so you need to make sure that you've built in enough cheap stuff to get value out of this. The only like expensive thing worth returning is like a Yamato, because you'll just draw 2 cards again, right? But you just need to make sure that you've built in the floor level this card is good, which is I played something cheap earlier, or I played something cheap on the same turn, and I made sure I balanced the 6 with this card. On the purple tokens, a 2/3, 1k counter with the Whitebeard Pirates protection ability. Again, these are all bad. Do not play these cards. 2 or 1. Did I give it 2s before? I think the Foes is a 2 because of the card type. I think the other ones are 1. Inarashi 3/3, 1k counter on play if you have any given Dawn cards. Add a Dawn if your Dawn deck rested. KO 1 or less. There's not enough 1-drops that matter. It's all a bunch of like 1-drop chump blockers. There's one 1-drop blocker I can think of that like actually matters. Sorry. That actually matters, and it's not worth writing this card just to kill that one card, so. Which is not placed. It's a 2 though, it's not a 1. You know, the ramp's pretty good, and it can kill stuff, but it's just like, it's just too niche for the card pool. It's like the green removal counter. It's just like, in a vacuum of all pre-releases, this card could be quite good. In this one, it's quite not. Crocus 5/6 1k counter on play if you have any given dawn, add a dawn card rest or active. Sorry, this was really good. It's active. And then when attacking, you return a 3k or less power to the owner's hand. It's base power, so you can't combine it with reduction, which is why this card didn't make my slides. That being said, you play this on 6 as a 5/6, having 1 dawn on your leader. You get a second active dawn. Now your leader has 2 active dawn, the swing 7. And then you can return chump blockers to the hand. So, very good. 4. Kozaki Alden is a 5/6 blocker. On play, you have any given dawn, add a dawn for your dawn deck rested. I don't think, unless you're playing this on curve, that the ramp's ever going to really matter. Because if you're playing this off curve, you probably need to commit all your dawn into playing things or attacking for max power. When you're on curve, like on 5, right, it's your second swing. Or, sorry, when you're on 6, because you're going second. You can be like, oh, it's so early. I just want a resource either way, whether it's a card or it's life. So, just swinging, like, for 6 instead of swinging for, what am I saying? Swinging for 6. And making this 5/6 with a ramp instead of playing a 6/8 vanilla on your 6 dawn turn, right? It's just fine because then you'll get off the curve onto the better on-play curve. But, and late game, obviously, you're shooting stuff up already because you're going to give dawn, but you're not really ramping at that point. Like, the ramp doesn't matter because you're probably about to hit 10 regardless of whether you ramp or not. So, this card is just fine. It's a blocker that also attacks. And there's not too many blockers in this set compared to other ones, especially on the jump side. But I think it's just a 3. I think it's just fine. Goldie Roger 10/13. If your leader and all your other characters that do not have a type that's Roger Pirates will lose their effects. On play dawn -3, your leader gets 2k until the end of your opponent's next end phase. They give all your opponent's characters -2k until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Very good. Does not single-handedly win, the game. Like, I think Newgate and Shanks do. But this card is quite good. You pull it, you play it. Dawn -3 does mean that you're going to 9 on the following turn. Not 10. So just be aware of that for math for combat swings. But effectively, you're going to stop your opponent from, like... You're either going to, like, use this in your already constructed board to clear your opponent's board while insulating your leader. Or you're going to use this to prevent the series of attacks while swinging it on your opponent's leader, making it hard for them to punish your board or kill you instead between your leader's boost and their minus. It's obviously a 5. I think it's in the totality of like the other top end 5s. I think it's still the worst, and worst is by comparison, not it's a bad card. But yeah, this card rolls, baby. Very good, but can't block after him. Yeah, you lose the blocker ability. Remember, blocker is an effect. I guess negated. That's the thing. You just end up losing so much value on the exchange. But like I don't think it matters if you're making, like, it only matters if you're already dead anyway, because you're already dead anyway. There's no single cards probably gonna save you. Between buffing your leader by 2 and minusing all your opponents by 2 for each character, the gap should be wide enough where you're fine anyway without blocking. I think the thing to remember, right, is if you're gonna play this, then just don't pre-play a bunch of chump blockers, or if you do, use them before you get here. Also, this art's just so much better. Shanks is the searcher for Roger Pirates. 1-2 top 5 for Roger Pirates and Shanks. I think there's just enough good Roger Pirates, and they're impactful enough to the game that we haven't got to Scopper yet, that you do just play this searcher, because even if you miss when you do hit, the impact of like having a Crocus, having a Scopper, etc., on curve is just so good that we want it. So in that regard, I am going to give him a 3. Also, the Rayleigh's good too. 8-9 rush. One of your few rushers in the main set. On play, if you have any Dawn cards given, rest of one of your opponent's characters costs 5 or less, and then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck. Set is active at the end of this turn, so it's really just for counter, but yeah, you have rush, and then you have a given Dawn, you rest something to attack into, or with a blocker. This card's a 5. It's just so good. I mean, look how nice this is, dude. Actually, though, I will say, I actually do like the regular. This art is obviously great, like the shading, the perspective stuff. I do like this one where he's like, you know, like he's background by Roger's cape. I think that's actually really sick. Scalper, 6/7 1K counter. On play, if your leader's type includes Roger Pirates, draw 2, trash 1 from your hand, then add a Dawn and set it as rested. This is probably the best 6-drop play you can do, I think. Make a 6/7, and then you go to 7 Dawn on tapping on 9 while sculpting your hand. I think this might be the best 6 Dawn play you can do on curve. Let me know if you guys disagree, or if I'm forgetting something obvious here. But yeah, Scalper, great. 4.5. Even late game, this card's just really good. Yeah. Rayleigh and most of the Roger Pirates are just straight aura farming. Like, invented it, you know? Douglas Bullet, 3/4 1K counter. I can't believe this card's a common. If you have 8 or more cards on your, or Dawn cards on your field, it counts 2K, so you can also 3/6. On play, leader's type includes the type. You have all types, so it doesn't matter. Up to 1 Dawn card, or add up to 1 Dawn card for your Dawn deck, and rest it. So this is the best 3-drop I think you can play. Like, it's this or Boa Hancock, right? Because Boa says you play a 3/5, and then you start swinging with me, and when they kill me, you draw 2, so that's great. Or you can play Douglas Bullet and be like, I'll put you up a Dawn, and then actually know you played a 6K. Like, I think these are the 2 best things you can do on 3. Boa's a rare. This is a common. If you open 2 or 3 of these, congratulations. If you start your hand and you don't have one, just mulligan for it. There's no reason not to, because you're likely to have it. Add Bullet to the list of commons that are amazing. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, this set is weird when it's missing compared to other limited sets, right? But it has, like, these crazy commons in it. Like, even compared to, like, regular ones. Like, the density of, like, really good limited commons are nuts, dude. Yeah. I can't give it a 5, obviously, but it is a 4. Because even late game, you're just like, 10 Dawn, suit up 7, to crack at your opponent's board, and then you're like, I'll play a 6K for 3. Like, that's nuts. That's so good. Tom, 2/2 1K counter, on play, Dawn -1, get a stage back. We don't play this card at all. 1. Napoleon's a 5/7, so we play all day 3. Neko we play as a 2K, but it also has a little bit extra value as a 3/3 2K. His on plays if 8 or more Dawn, KO a 3K power or less base power character, so we can remove some blockers with that, so that's 3.5. This card will definitely win you some games. Power creep, yeah. Actual power creep for limited is crazy. Buggy's under 2K, so we play him for sure. On play, if your leader has Roger Pirates, and you have a given Dawn, add a Dawn. Rested. I don't think we're ever going to ramp with this. I just don't think ramp's good enough on its own. The ramp that's like free with these other good bodies and good abilities is fine, but I don't think there's any reason to just straight ramp in this format. So that being said, just a 3 we play for being a 2K. I think like maybe, you know. Okay, here's when I would ramp. Ready? Here's when I would ramp. If I'm on first curve and I have the choice to play this, and in playing it, I'm going to establish a Newgate or a Shanks, not a Roger, because my opponent's board won't be big enough to really swing with the tempo of the Roger yet. And I can play those a turn early because of it, then I'll play a bad ramp body. That's about it. Prometheus 5/6 2K counter. We play for 2K. Good body otherwise. My right key just isn't working right tonight. 4/5 1K counter. On play up to 1 homie set character, 3K or less from your hand. We probably just play this as a filler 4/5, which is better than playing a filler 3/4, for example. Which there's been a lot of them over tonight, but I don't think we're actually playing anything off this. I don't think so at all. So 2.5. Gets off another scrap is the first dual modal purple. 1 Dawn, counter 3K for leader during the battle. You can rest another one, and if your leader is Goldie Roger, which it will be, you have any given dawn, up to 1 dawn for your dawn deck and rest it. Again, I would just play this for the counter. I don't think you need a dual modal card to play these cards in limited. Like, I think just like if even the first tap is bad in your deck, just paying 1 dawn to 3k counter is just good enough. Again, I think the only reason I played the top half of this is if it takes me from on a curve to even to play go to 10 drop. This dual modal, however, we use all the modes. Divine Departure is a 0 cost event, so the 0 counter, trash card from your hand up to one of your leaders or characters gets 3k. Main, pay 5 dawn total. It's actually 6 technically, so you rest 5, and then you have to have a given dawn for the ability to actually go off. So it technically costs 6 dawn total. Give it to one of your opponent's characters minus 8k during the turn. This is literally a removal spell. I don't think there's a single character in this game that you give it minus 8k and it stays on the board. Like, Shanks, right? Stays at 4. But unless you have a blocker and you only have 1 attack on it, you still have 4 dawn and 1's already given to your leader if you have no other characters. So that's 5 dawn on leader to swing 10 on 4. Like, you're getting that guy. You're getting that. Anything else, and you're just playing the negatives, you're like, I'll swing my chump blocker in. Like, just to remove it while I pressure leader, and then you can swing on chump blocker if you want. That's fine. Yeah, this card is insane. This might be a 5. I think we have this a 5 for limited. It's just so flexible. It's just so flexible that I think I gotta. Oh, dude, this is. I think this and DMG are gonna be like, at least for now, the 2 best manga rare events for sure. Go all the way to the top. 1 cost dual events. This one is 3k for 1, or rest another 3 if you have any dawns. It's 5 total technically. With the original 1. If you have any dawn giving, KO a base 4k and a base 3k. I talked about this in the slideshow. You just need to remember this exists because it usually will probably just get played to KO one thing, KO a chump blocker, since power reduction doesn't work with it. But if your opponent or you are like, I need to play 2 jump blockers to live here, this card can just blow you out, like, entirely. And granted, usually when you're like, I'm on 2 chump blockers to live, any interaction is bad, right? This is just the one that really puts you in the hole. And they're obviously, the problem here is that they're already incentivized to play this card because it's a 1 counter, give 3k counter, or 1 dawn, give 3k counter. So the chances of them having in the deck are higher, just naturally. But just remember that you can just absolutely lose the game to this card. Oh, also remember, actually, this one has the errata note. This is the correct one. Your leader gains 3k power during this turn. The version you're going to open in your packs is this one that says you're going to get 3k during this turn. It's supposed to be 3k during the battle. Did I update the image? Wait, they didn't update the image? Why did they update the image? I just realized that. So it's battle, not turn. Does this one say battle or turn? This one says battle. Okay, yeah. So the version on here is correct. This text is correct. The ones you pull will say turn. They don't do turn. And I should have. That's something I should have put in the slideshow, and I feel bad for not doing that. So just make sure. I'm gonna make sure to be announcing that at top of my events, like I always do with erratas and any weird rulings for new cards. But don't get got with this. Don't get got. Oro Jackson, 1 cost stage. You're not gonna play this as a 1 when your opponent, when your character with type Whitebeard Pirates from the field by your opponent's effect. Add it on. Nope. Oh, so sorry. This card's a 4. Don't care about leaders. Nozjuro, 6/5, 1k counter if you have 7 more cards in trash. This character cannot be removed by card effects and gains rush. And then when attacking, you have 10 or more cards in your trash. Give to one of your opponents minus 2k during the turn. I don't think you're going to play this without 10 cards in your trash unless you are not fighting board and you're just chipping on leader or chipping on board and you're not trying to actively, like, make an attack that matters. Because, like, the rush on a 5 for 6 isn't that good. If you have 10, you play this all day regardless. Like, you just jam this card. Like this one's cards that, like, you don't have to start thinking about, luckily, until, like, turn 5. I think if there's no way you should be able to get 10 on turn 4. If your opponent has 10 on turn 4, they gave you all the cards in their hand, you're probably just winning anyway at that point. But it will absolutely swing a game that's going long. So if your goal is to make the game go longer, just start remembering this card becomes Very, very real. Is a 4. God, these are so cool. These are so cool. Koala 5/6 1k counter. If your leader is Rev Army, gets 3 cost. Activate main, place a card for trash to the bottom of your deck to give a rested dawn to your leader characters. 3.5. This is really good. I mean, it's a 5/6 on curve, but it's technically a 5/7 on curve because unless you have like Nozjuro in your deck, unless you're leaning on these Celestial Dragon trash abilities, like it's not just the protection, it's the ones that gain rush, it's the one that gains blocker, etc. You're free to just start windmilling your cards back in. So it means you basically play it as a 4/6, and then once you start attacking, it's attacking as a 5/7. But most importantly, that 1k that makes it 7 can go anywhere and be in the most effective attack possible. 5 Elders, 10, 12. Activate main if your leader's Emu, which will be rest 1 of your Dawns. Trash 1 card from your hand. Trash all characters, including this, and then up to 5 Elder type characters with 5 Elders type characters with different names get played from your trash. I don't think you actually ever activate this if you play this card. I think playing these cards at 10, 12 isn't the most abysmal thing to do. I don't think it's great. I think the only way you actually end up activating this card is if you get 2 blockers off this, or you get blocker rusher off this, or you get blocker removal off this, and you hit a good target. I don't think trashing your whole board, even if it's just this card, and trash the card from your hand is worth it otherwise. But it's a 3.5. I think this card's like closer to being a 3. Like it's basically a 10-12 vanilla if we're being real. But resolving a 10-12 if you have the space to do so will be quite good in this format because, like I said, there's not a lot of 8-10s, 9-11s, 7-9s. So like this kind of like getting a 12-12 on board will be hard to interact with for your opponent, but it's just not that exciting. So when God Pack can have all 5, yeah, but you have to have them in your trash, son. That's the problem. Saturn's a searcher, 4/5 1 get counter. Look at top 5 or 5 elders on play. Add it to your hand. 7 or more can't be removed. I don't like this. That's what I'm saying. Like if this card's in your yard, you don't trash for it. I think you play this card regardless. So 4/5 is good. If you hit, you hit, and if you don't, you don't. But because you don't trash the cards, like it's worth playing. I think the only way you don't play this card is if you have less than 4 other 5 elder targets in your deck. If you have 4 or more other 5 elders, because you can search yourself as well, you play this card because when you do hit, it's worth it, and when you don't hit, you just played a mediocre curve body, which you're fine with. You know, you do that in a lot of pre-release games anyway. But when you do hit, you're gonna be so much farther ahead. OP12 was my first release event. I played Rainbow Luffy, but it didn't work. Red Sanji won. What will you play as in this set where there are so many things that require a leader to activate? So most events should be Mirex. Me rest. I want to go rest. I gotta shoot more videos tonight. Most events should be everyone's playing Rainbow Luffy. That's supposed to be like the ethos of it at this point. If you're playing a leader, I would probably just play Red Sanji. Like, unless you're stuck playing a lot of Roger Pirates that have on-play effects inherently. This is like the one set where like Red Sanji might be a little bit worse because there's just so many on-play abilities in this set and so few vanilla bodies. In which case I would play Bonnie if I couldn't play Red Sanji with the pool. But don't play Rainbow Luffy if you don't have to play Rainbow Luffy. You should be playing Red Sanji or Bonnie if you know how to play Rainbow Luffy, just straight up. And if you want more in depth on that guide, I have a whole section of the guide video that you can watch that talks about leader selection. Say Shepherd Jupiter is 7/5 2k counter. We play against a 2, so it's automatic 3 base. 7 or more can't be KO'd. 10 or more can't be removed. 10 or more, all your 5 elders come with base 7. There's just not, you're never gonna have enough to make the second effect worth it. It's a 3. You're just playing it as your 2k body. That's it. Oh, I don't think I said this is also a 3. But yeah, this card's just a 2k. We play as a 2k and move on with our day. 2/4 vanilla. It's a 2. Say Charleo 1/0 1k counter. This card is a really bad searcher because it trashes, which is really bad for limited. It's really great in constructed. It's really bad in limited for us. So Do not play this card. You also only get to see 3 defined, which is not good for you. So don't play this card. It's a 1. St. Charles, 2/0, 1k counter, blocker, and on-play trash card top of your deck. Normally, you know, we're not looking to mill. There's so few, like, cheap blockers, though, that having to mill one to do it is fine. Obviously, if you mill your bomb, you're going to feel really bad about it. But, yeah, we play this card still. It's a 3. Terry Giltio, 5/6, 2k counter. 2k counter vanilla. We play that all day for a 3.5. St. Tankman, Warkery. This is one of the better ones because it gains blocker, 4/5, 1k counter. 7 or more can't be removed by effects and gains blocker. And on KO, draw a card. So, pretty fine, just like even as like an attacker, because you're gonna get value either way, right? You'll either get to the point where it can block, or your opponent removes it in like usual attrition battles and you get a card out of it. So, quite fine. 3.5. Hack, 6/7, 2k counter. We play that all day, 3.5. Mars, 6/5, 1k counter, 7 or more. You gain blocker and can't be removed, so that's quite good, but it also has a removal. On play, trash a card, KO, a base cost 5 or less character. This is probably the best one that isn't Nuzjuro. I said that in my guide, and I'm sticking to it. I think Nuzjuro and Mars are the best ones for limited. You just play a 6/5. Let's pretend you never get the 7 in your trash. Like, play a 6/5, trash a card, KO a 5/7 or a 5/6 your opponent played is just good enough, I think. And then the fact that this can just become a blocker and not be an attacker is very, very good. Because once it's a blocker and you KO'd something, you've KO'd something which removes a life you would have taken in theory. And then it blocks, so it saves you another life. So the exchange rate is really, really good. Mjolnir? I always mess this one up. But St. Mjolnir, 2/0. 2k counter with 3 less life on play. Play a Marijois type stage. Cost 1 from your trash. 2k counter. We're just playing as a 2k. What do? You 2k counter for me. What is my purpose? You're a 2k counter. Oh my god. Yeah, 3. Big news! Morgan's 3/4, 1k counter with blocker. I'll play draw 2, trash 2. This one's really good because it's not just a fancy little chump blocker, but it's also gonna sculpt your hand for you, so it's good on curve. It's good late game. Like on curve, you're looking for your bombs. Get it? Late game, you're playing your chump blocker. You wanna get your hand full of nice counter. Just start filtering when you play it. This card's great. I almost want to give it a 4, and I think I will. I'm gonna give it a 4. Can also attack for 1 Dawn. York is a 1/1, 1k counter on play. Your Celestial Dragon type character up to 1. Sorry, if your Celestial Dragon's type character gets 2k power during this turn. I don't think we played this card. If it was a 2k, this card would be great, but as a 1k, it's not worth playing. Targets are too slim. Give it a 1. St. Roswell, 3/0, 1k counter on play. Trash 1 from your hand. If you only have Celestial Dragon types, KO 2 of your opponent's characters base costs 3 or less. The problem with this is that, like I said, there's not a lot of 3/5 bodies in this format, and if you're getting them on curve, you're playing 2 cards to get rid of 2 cards. This isn't a real body because you have to attach 5 to attack with it. So you're basically like trashing 2 cards to trash 2 of their cards. And then later in the game, you're not going to only have Celestial Dragons, so you're not going to be able to use the ability. So you can't even like clear 2 chump blockers with this. So this card's a huge, huge trap, and I give it a 1. The 5 elders at your service is the Searcher. Again, it's a top 3 Searcher, and it trashes the rest. We do not play this card. It's a 1. The World's Equilibrium is your first dual modal. Win cost main. Rest 5 more. If all you control Celestial Dragons, KO is 6 or less. It's fine. I just don't see it like really working the way you need to do it on curve. Like, your better cards to just play when you're only having 1 card on board isn't a Celestial Dragon. And so, if it's not a Celestial Dragon, even though removal's at a premium, this card just isn't really gonna do what it needs to do. But it's a one drop counter. It's 1 Dawn, counter for 3. So the cost of playing in your deck is very low. The opportunity cost of having the card is very low because we want those cards all day. I gave it 2.5. I think this card will crack open a board when people least expect it, but do not lean on this card doing the first part. This is the better dual modal for limited. It's a 1 cost. If your leader's Emu, which it is, your leader or character gets 4k. 4k for 1 with no other restricting. No life count, no power count, no cards in hand count, no characters on board count. 1 Dawn, 4k. crazy. And it can go to the leader or character. All the 3K for ones only go to leader. This can protect the character from dying when you really need it. We're not playing it for the main part. You can pay another one and kill a stage. Cost 7 exactly. I don't think the throne, which we're about to see, which is the only target for this, is good enough in limited. If you have 19 or more cards in your trash, your leader gets 1,000 during your turn. Pay 3 of your Dawn and rest the card. Play black 5 Elders type character with Dawn equal to or less than the number of Dawn cards in your field for your hand. I just don't think you're gonna pull enough. I just don't think it's gonna be enough. You gotta pay 7 before you can activate it. Like this is the tempo of the game in limited just does not support this card. So you're never gonna play this card, and thus the first part of this card will not be relevant. But this card's so good on the back half, we're gonna play it anyway. Leaders don't matter. Atlas 5/6 2K counter 3. And sorry, this is a 1 obviously. I didn't grade this one. This one's a goddamn it might be a 5. I'm gonna go to 4. But this card will definitely just swing games. Atlas 3.5, good body on 2K. Edison's 3. It's a 3/2 2K counter. Activate main, may trash this. If your life cards are equal to or less than the number of your opponent's life cards, draw 1. Rest of 3 or less. It is quite good at cracking a board because you can rest the chump blocker, replace this card, pay 3, rest the chump blocker, replacing the card, and then get at your opponent's leader or get at the character you want to kill with trigger as well to draw 1, rest of 3. But it's situational because you can't just always fire it off. And if your opponent like is protected by non-blocker stuff or like mid-sized blockers, then it does basically nothing. So sorry guys. It's so hot and dry today in the middle of November. Gyogo 4/6, one of the few 4/6s we have. We play this all day. I give it a 3 on principle, but in this set, it's so good as a 4/6. It's gonna play a lot better. Kozuki Hiyori 4/0 1K counter with blocker, and on KO you may trash 1 card from your hand. Your leader's multicolored, add 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. This card is a 4. It pay 4 to gain 2 life, basically, right? It blocks to save 1 life or save a character. And you can trash the worst card in your hand to gain a life, which is fantastic. Card's 4. Card's super good. On the other hand, this card's super bad. Kozuki Momonosuke 3/0 1K counter. On play, look at all your life and rearrange them. Doing that for 3 with 0 body is not worth it. There's a reason like the only life arrangers are like Newgate, Dragon Claw event, and I don't know if it's Viola or Violet, which one of Violet it is. But like that one's in a combo piece in a specific deck, and it still blocks. Like this doesn't do shit. 1. Connie 1/1 1K counter. Opponent's turn with trigger activates this character gains blocker during the turn. Trigger play this card. Conditional blocker on a condition you don't get to choose. You don't get to choose when you have a trigger there. And usually you want to block to stop the life. So yeah, this card is quite buns. Do not play this card. It's even though you get free play the character, it's a huge trap. Do not play this card. 1. This card's a 1, obviously. I don't think I give this card a 1. It's 1. Shaka 5/7 1K counter. It's a 5/7 vanilla, which for this format it's actually very good. There's quite few of them. It's a 3 on principle, but it's gonna play better. Jory Body 9/10 on play. If your leader's Egghead type, it will be. This character gains a rush during the turn. Then your opponent adds the top card of their life to their hand. Trigger draw 1 if you have 1 or less life cards. Rest of the one of your opponent's characters cost 7 or less. This card's really good. It's a 5. It's not. It's better than the Elders, obviously, because this is actually 5. I think it's better than Roger, if I'm being real. I think it's worse than Newgate. I think it's better than Roger. I think I'd rank it Shanks, Newgate, Bonnie, Roger. Because it's good in a different way the other ones are. It doesn't win you the game outright on the card. It just busts open a game state. And by chewing through a life just on the on play, it can let you switch gears from a game where you're losing the board to being like, that's fine, I can actually out-tempo you anyway on life and just close out the game. Yeah, this card's insanely good. Remember it exists. Jory Bonnie 5/6 1K counter. If this character be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you turn top card of your life cards face up instead, so it has some built-in protection. Trigger, draw 2, trash 1. It's just good on every single angle here. It is just a 5/6, which is like a little bit worse in general. But in this set, it'll play a lot better because, again, there's less vanillas. So it's a 3. Quite good. Stussy, we talked about the stats on this. So it's a 7/7 blocker. On play, if your leader has the type, play up to 1 character, cost 5 or less, which 5 or less, and trigger from your hand. There are only 3 things you can play that matter, and 1 is an SP. So most of the time it's a 7/7 blocker, which is just fine. If your opponent or you play a 7/7 blocker, you're pretty happy with it. It's just good. It can be outclassed, but it's good. If you or your opponent play this and then play one of the cards off of it that matter, you're doing very, very, very well for yourself. So that being said, I'm gonna give it a 4 because it's either gonna play like a 3 or it's gonna play like almost a 5. This art's crazy. Pythagoras 6/7 2K counter 6/7. It's a 3. This is the conditional blocker we do play. It's also the 1-drop target I talked about for 1-drop KO off Inarashi. 1/1 1K counter. If you have 2 or more total Giving Dawn, this character gains blocker. That's pretty easy to do in this format. Again, we're battling over board. We're having less card selection, so we're more time like getting value through combat more than we are playing cards. So there's gonna be often you're gonna have 2 attached Dawn. Just remember, if you attach Dawn to a character and the character leaves the board, the Dawn returns rested and you no longer have Given Dawn. Meaning, if you need to keep your Vegapunk active as a blocker, make sure you have 2 Dawn equipped on your leader, because there is no way for your opponent to remove the Dawn from your leader from being attached Dawn. That being said, this plays as a 3 in this set, specifically because there's just such a big lack of chump blockers, and for 1 with also having counter, it's a pretty easy condition to meet. Normally I would give this card 2 in any other set. This set I'm giving it a 3. Lilith, 1/2, 1K counter on play. Look at top 4 cards of your deck. Reveal to 1 trigger other than Lilith and add to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom. Trigger, activate this card's on play ability. The trigger cards are not good enough to play a searcher for them. I'll be real. The cards you're really searching for are not them. So I would just avoid this card completely. It's a 1. Cute art though. S-Snags, one of my favorite cards in all of Limited for One Piece. This card is super good. 4/5, 1K counter on play /1 attacking. You may turn 1 card for your life face up. Give one of your opponent's characters minus 2K power during this turn. So you play it for 4, but then you get 2 Dawn worth of value in minus the turn you play it. And then every time you attack, if your life is not face up, you minus again, which is great. And then as trigger, you may trash a card, play this card for free. This card's a 5. This card is like the most powerful card that isn't a 9-drop or a 10-drop in the set. I think this card is absolutely nuts, and the way it changes math cannot be interacted with because it's doing minus shenanigans. Beppo, for example, changes math by like reactivating, but you can just kill the Beppo through like removal effects. Because this already gains value by the time it hits the board, and it proceeds to get more value, and it can hit the board through a free play at the cost of just information off life, which does matter for sure when your opponent is lining up lethal math at the end. You know, knowing what's in your hand or what kind of life you're going to be taking off the last couple of hits does matter. But this point swing, especially with a lot less straight vanilla static characters of 2K, more than the cost in this format, is going to do a lot of work. Questions: what card do we need to play? It's play, not pray. To remove Beppo 5/7. There's a few options. We can go over them in just a second. We're actually no, we have to go to the SPs. So far, what we have to remove Beppo. So we can no, sorry, Rusting's on the back side of that one. So you can remove it with Equilibrium, but you're probably not gonna ever play for the removal side because of the conditioning. You really have to like, I think you just have to rest it is like the only way. Where's Mars? Mars can kill it, so Mars is your best option, I think. As a rare 6/5, you can trash or KO a 5 or less base. That's probably your best one to kill Beppo. Let's see. There's a yellow event we haven't gotten to yet for 6 that can kill it. I know that. Doesn't matter because it'll be active. This can rest Beppo and then you can swing into him with your stuff. 3k or less. You can bounce it with the Brilliant Punk. You can reduce with your red reduction, which there's a lot of red reduction in this set. And then bottom deck it with Pyre Apple. You can rest him with the Gum Gum Elephant Gun and then swing into him. You can use Nico Robin, which doesn't remove him, but it stops him from resting himself to attack on the next turn, so you kind of like get a little reprieve. I think that might be it. No, he's a 7, so this does not hit it. Yeah, so that's it. There's a yellow card, and there's some SPs that also hit it. But he is quite tough. The fact that he's a common at the stat line he has, with the lack of interaction compared to a normal limited set, sealed event is like insane in my opinion. That's why people are so high on him being so powerful. He's not as powerful on the card as much as he is in this format given the card pool, if that makes sense. There's like 4 good ways, and luckily the 4 good ways are not over rare. They're not SR based. So one of the reductions is, but there's other power reduction that isn't SR based. Also for S-Snake, can I give it a 5? 4.5. Paper After Image. Paper Art After Image. Remember this card. This is the other card with Rouge that will absolutely mess up your end of game math and make you lose the game if you do not play around this card properly. It's a 2-cost counter event. Up to one of your leaders or character gets 3,000 for the battle. Then if your opponent has 2 or less life cards, up to one of your leader or character gets 1,000 for the turn. Trigger draw a card. So it single-handedly 4k counters out of something and then persist a 1k counter for the rest of the turn, meaning it will tax your overall Dawn to get through final lethal so hard. This is the card, if you have this in your deck, unless playing this earlier, is going to solidify a board that lets you just win off the board. You're going to want to save this for when your opponent gets into what should be their final attack, because this is what's going to close it out. And also bluffing this card, if you're like attacking, like for example, your opponent has 2 cards in hand and you're already swinging 9 without equipping 2 more Dawn and they don't have blocker, just swing the 9 and keep the 2 Dawn back, because if your opponent has to play around this card, it's a crazy card to play around. Plus, they can just be playing around like multiple 1-drop 3k counters as well. This card will steal games from you. Just remember it exists. It's 4. The one who is the most free is the Pirate King, is a 1-drop searcher for supernovas. Do not play this card. There is not enough supernovas in this set, and most of the ones in here are not that good. This is the yellow removal, so this also works rest for your Beppo removal. Gum Gum Dawn Stamp 5-cost main. Turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face up. KO a 6 or less base cost character. Trigger draw 1. Remember, this is a Nambo with S-Snake, so they both have to turn a card face up. So if you played one of these and then you haven't taken the life yet, you won't be able to play the other one's ability. This card is a 4. Secret Luffy. Oh, actually, there's this Ace, I think, works against your Beppo as well, though it's only temporary. 6/7. 6/7. Double attack, huge. On play for leaders multicolored, set 4 if your Dawn is active, which it will be. Then you cannot play characters cost 5 or more during this turn. This is a crazy, like, turn 3 going second play. Like, you just, like, you play this, you untap 4, you put 4 on your leader, and you just swing 9 into their board, and then you just pressure their board while using this to clean up life is just nuts. 4.5. All the variants. Porcus the Ace, 6/7. If you have 3 less life cards, gains rush, huge. On play, if you give up to 1 of your rested Dawns to your leader, then return opponent's characters when it costs a 5 or less to the other's hand. So use the bounce the Beppo. Then they can play a 4 or less from their hand, but resetting that Beppo tempo is extremely good, so you're still gonna play it. To do that, can also gain rush. It's not gonna gain rush if you play it on curve, unless you take both the life specifically to give it rush, which is a very valid thing to do. If your opponent's like, okay, 3 Dawn turn, play a 3/5, swing leader, you take it. 5 Dawn turn, play a 5-drop, swing leader, just take it. Because getting the immediate value out of this, in case they do have removal, is really, really powerful. Additionally, you've now built more counter in your hand to protect this from combat removal. So, yeah, quite good. 4.5, I think the rush makes it really, really good, especially with a lot less rush in the format. Sabo's a 6/7 blocker. Activate main once per turn. Up to one of your characters gets 2 cost, and then you can give Arrested Dawn to your leader. The cost really doesn't matter. It's a 6/7 blocker that gives Arrested Dawn around, so it's more like a 6/8. Yeah, card is real good, but it's not like as pushed. Like these like the Ace and the Luffy are like pushed. This is like a high 3.5, a low 4. I'm gonna give it a 4, but. Now we're on to the SP. So these are like really low chance of seeing these, but just know they exist. This Ace does nothing. It on play, if your leader has Whitebeard, which it will, you can look for a character with 2 cost or less. So it's a 5/5. I don't think this is worth playing. There's not enough 2-drop blockers. If you pull this, don't play this card. It's a 1. Lilith is a 3/5. There is enough Eggheads in this set where it's worth playing. On play, look at top 5 cards for an Egghead that's in Lilith. Play it, and then you can free play it because your leader will be Vegapunk. Do play this card. It is good. Like, even if you miss, you're just playing a 3/5, so you're good. This Sabo is one of the cards you can't forget exists because this card can single-handedly win or turn around the game. It's an 8/9. Unplay, trash a card, KO one of your opponent's characters, costs 5 or less, and one costs 3 or less. Double KO for making an 8/9 plus trash a card is extremely good, and is a 5. Silver Gold Shanks is the 10/12 Rush Shanks. It gives everything -1. Also a 5. Benjamin Beckman. 7/7 Trash to 6k. Extremely good. 5. Goldie Roger Wanted is not the sets Roger. It's the OP09 Roger. So it's a 10/13 Rush. And then when your opponent activates blocker, if either of you have 0 cards, you win the game. Again, unlikely, but like, just remember it exists. If you're doing the math and you're like, cool, I don't lose to this card, I don't lose to this card, I don't lose to this card. If you're like, oh, I lose to Roger, and you can do something just slightly different to not lose to Roger, just don't set yourself up to lose to Roger, you know? Monk D Luffy is the OP9 Luffy. 9/10 on play, return 1 or more Dawn. They'll just return 1 in this format. They'll draw a card and gain Rush. Quite good, quite good. It's 5. Smoker I talked about in the guide is obnoxiously good. It's a 5/7. Activate main, set up the 1 Dawn card as active, and then you cannot reset Dawn using character abilities for the rest of the turn. And that's Banish, which in this format is great because it's all about board control. So you can either use it as a 5/7 beat stick on the board, or if your opponent forces you to go for life, or in general while you're going for board, you still get to swing 7 on 5 leader and then tax them cards because they'll never get extra cards to the hand. And then if you tax them enough life because they don't want to give up their hand cards to not protect the board, you might just get enough life from them where you go, okay, I don't have to fight board anymore. I'll just turn them all sideways at leader now and then kill you. Best card is the one poster Ace, and pray your opponent doesn't know it's an error. Yeah, I gotta make sure I announce that one as well. I was gonna get to it when we get to the copy here. Or did I skip it earlier? Was it in these? No, it isn't. Yeah, I didn't skip it. I was gonna make sure we review it when we do here. I do need a copy of that Ace for the Ace collection though, so I have the before it gets fixed. There's the one poster of the Luffy we saw, the Ace. So, okay. This Ace at pre-release will not have the text it has. It will have the proper text up top of if you have 3 less life, it gains Rush. The bottom text on this is going to say Luffy's effect. The on-play the multicolor leader on tap 4. That is not the text on this card. Please make sure that if you or your opponent has this card, you remember the text on this card is the secret Ace text, which is give a Arrested Dawn to your leader, return one of your opponent's characters 5 or less to their hand. They can play 4 or less. They will all have the incorrect text. Do not lose to that. Do not get got, and do not cheat your opponents. We have one at Sabo, and that's it. That is the full limited set review for OP13. Does anyone have any questions as we're wrapping up here? Speak now, or forever hold your Reese's Pieces. Okay, if a question comes in, I'll stop to answer, but I'm going to start wrapping up here. I'm going to let you know I'm dropping a link in the chat right now. If you guys can, we had our first sponsored video go out with Bandai. Go Birds! Exactly, Go Birds. We had our first sponsored video in collaboration with Bandai go out today. It's on the Alert Together set, which I think the video is really good. I think we did a lot of, we put a lot of good information in it, especially if if you bought it. And it's going to, I think it's going to be entertaining regardless. If you like me and Luke, you'll find it entertaining at the very least. But, even if you already have played with that product, you don't really have a lot of interest in it, go just, when you're done with the stream, click that link, go pull up the video, just give it a watch in the background, let it just run. Really, any comments, watch time especially, and clicking the link to the beginner page in the description super helps us with that. We have some more stuff coming down with them. Those will be more timely, thank God. So those will hopefully perform better naturally. But for this one, we would really, really appreciate an interaction with it. It's a video for a product that's pretty late in its life cycle, but it's the first one they're having us do. So really appreciate it. So the last bit of questions. Hey, I'm now starting to play One Piece, and I like Purple Black Luffy. I have won one game. Any tips on help me learning the deck? We have a whole video on that. Wait, I'll find it for you right now. We have a whole video on that. We have a whole 2 videos on that. Wait, hold on. I have 2 videos on Black Purple Luffy for you. Let me get that for you, friend. Congratulations again on the One Piece. Thank you for the thanks, Zonji. It's my first pre-release. Any piece of advice going into it with the Rainbow Luffy? Rainbow Luffy gives an extra booster. Gives an extra booster on my pre-release event? Wait, can you explain them? Are they rewarding? Are they getting an extra pack if you play Rainbow Luffy? Because it should just be that everyone plays the Rainbow Luffy at most places. Not every place. What I talk about in the guide. Can you just clarify what you're saying, Zem, so I can give you, or if there's like a bonus like power boost? I just want to make sure that I'm like, I'm giving you the best advice. Understanding. And then while I'm doing that, let me get these links for John Jones. So John Jones, we have 2 videos on Purple Luffy I can give to you. I'm so lost because I come from my Pokemon. Oh, okay. Have you watched the deck upgrade and the leader guide? Because we have 2. I'm gonna link them just in case. We have the leader guide from when the leader first came out. Which is the learn to play. Why didn't that one come up? Here we go. So this is the leader guide. And then we have the deck upgrade guide, which the starting upgrade guide has all the new pieces involved. And closest style. So I think the biggest problem right now is there's just better decks that go bigger in the format. If you're losing to meta decks with Black Purple Luffy, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. Like UP Luffy and P Luffy, I think are just more efficiently going big right now. And you're not really getting any value off the black stuff right now. Not in the preventing cost reduction, nor with the gaining black cards for the pool. But I do think there are some cards coming out in the next couple sets that could be very good, especially once a better ban list gets enacted. You are, of course, a Gungo Giant deck, and Gungo Giant's always great. I think the real litmus test for that deck is the worse that the black Sanji 5/6 is in the format, the worse that leader is. That's the really good tool you get with there. I think right now, if I was you, just try to like tune the Turbo Time Walk version the most. I think Turbo Time Walk is the one thing that deck has that UP Luffy doesn't have and that P Luffy doesn't have. And I think if you really want to be successful with that, just leaning into building that version with tech cards and ramp cards to support your local metagame is probably your best strategy. That being said, there just is problems with its matchups right now that can't be solved no matter how much you deck build for it, because the format's just so diverse and wide, and I think Zoro specifically really eats that deck, as well as Rayleigh's aggression. Oh, thanks, Jones. But I learned to play, it's great for new players. Thanks, Zanji. They allow all leaders, but in the rewards, you get an extra booster playing Rainbow Luffy. Okay, so here's the good thing. After reviewing tonight's set in full, I think Red Sanji's at its worst in this set. It'll still be really good, but there's a lot of on-play cards, and not a lot of just straight vanilla characters, which is what Red Sanji wants. So I think the best leader might actually be Bonnie, depending on your pool for this event. Green Bonnie, which can lose the Rainbow Luffy. I think with Rainbow Luffy, you really just want to start energizing your deck, because there's just not a lot of vanillas. Like even Bonnie will struggle a bit, because there's just not a lot of just straight vanillas. There is a lot of card type lock stuff. So obviously all the red cards are generically good that we looked at tonight. Most of the red cards aren't locked to anything. Same with the green cards. The red and the green cards are going to be the good base for any deck if it's open leader, because there's no typo requirements to them, except for the Kobe, I think. For your leader to get over Bonnie, I think you just want to start leaning on the leader lock stuff a little bit more. I think one way you can do it, ores is really good. It's a big buy that generates card advantage. I think if you have multiple ores, playing these over better statted bodies might be good because you're just going to draw more cards and hopefully out them. The Roger cards are going to be most powerful because there's a few cards in here that are leader lock typed. I don't know. There's no secret to winning with Rainbow Luffy when you have to play into Red Sanji and Bonnie. It's just about playing better fundamentals. The thing about limited events is that it rewards players who are really good at the fundamentals and really good at deck building and card evaluation and evaluating how good cards are for building your deck and for playing around cards, right? And then from there, just playing fundamentals really well. And so the way you beat, quote unquote, Red Sanji and other leaders as Rainbow Luffy is that your card pool is wider because you have the full ability sets of everything in the set. And so you use your deck building skill and your deck building knowledge and your card evaluation skills to build a better deck than them because your card pool is wider. And then you just have to play around them mechanically, right? You have to do the math like, okay, they're Red Sanji, they're gonna be more aggro. I should build and play a line that maybe I take a little more damage early and I'm gonna win late. I can't out aggro them, so I'm not gonna offer them my board. I'm gonna play a little bit more conservatively early, a little more setting up for the late game early, and then punish their board and hope they don't have enough rush things to really push me through. Same with Bonnie playing around the resting, right? Of like the tempo of the resting, of like trying to get multiplay set up. But in the end, there isn't like a secret way to beat it. Unfortunately, they have a leader ability, and leader abilities are great. It's why the game is made, because your leader is an active card that affects the game differently than every card on the board and every other leader that isn't that leader. And so when your Rainbow Luffy doesn't have an effect, you're objectively at a disadvantage, and the advantage you do gain is your card pool is bigger to draw from. So I would really just keep looking at all the cards. I would think about the power levels. I would rewatch this VOD, going over them. I would go watch my pre-release guide as well, if that helps you. Just like identify some cards. But I think in this set, you're going to be a little bit better off than in a lot of sets. There is a lot of really cool lock stuff in here. But there isn't enough where I'm like, oh, easy. You do this, you know they can't play that. There is still enough generic stuff where I think it's fine. Pre-release will always have a ton of luck, but yeah, fundamentals. So the thing is, like, I always say at the beginning of my my pre-release guides, until it's not true, I'll keep saying it. I've won over half my limited events in One Piece, and I think I'm at 62% right now. I lost out big on my what was it? OP10, OP10 or OP11. I went to 3 and I lost 2, which is pretty bad. But usually I either go to 1, I win 1. I go to 2, I win 1, lose 1, or I go to 3 and I win 2. I very rarely I've gone to 3 and won, lost 2. And I've won a lot of those with 0 bombs. The number of times I have 1 SR or no SRs has been a lot. The number of times I don't have like crazy bombs or I don't have multiple SRs and I still win is a lot because I have really good fundamentals. I really understand the card pool and know what I'm looking out for. If your opponent doesn't have a knowledge of what they're exactly playing around, or they don't have the full knowledge of everything in the set, they're like, oh, I know these are really powerful cards. But they don't think about sequencing plays of less powerful cards that are impactful. You're going to be able to out-sequence them and outplay them. You do get rewarded for your knowledge and executing that knowledge with fundamentals a lot more. Luck is a portion of that. I think more than luck, it's mulliganing aggressively to get more opportunity to draw off your initial 5, the lucky draw of getting the better cards right. But I think fundamentals still goes a lot more than luck for the most part. That being said, this game just can't win. My last pre-release, there's like, I looked at his deck and I'm like, oh, there's no world I can out fundamental this because your deck is crazy. And you have like no blind spots. You're in a random 5, you're always gonna have something crazy, so. Yeah, but here's the thing. You're not going to learn the fundamentals until you play it. You're not going to gain those skills. Like, someone's asking me the other day on my logos, hey, should I go to regionals just to do side events? And I said, yes, because you haven't been to a regional. You need to get there, understand the atmosphere, what signing up for an event goes like, to get all those jitters, to get all those unknowns out of your head, to get that experience in, so that when it comes to playing a regional that you care about, because you really want to do good in that format or for that event, you have that experience to work off of. So I say, instead of worrying so much about not having the fundamentals in the experience, don't worry about not having it and be excited about the opportunity of getting it. Do you still think Vegapunk will become meta with SC29 and OP13 report? Brother, what? When did I say that? Quote me? Quote me? I don't even know what's in ST29. The OP13 for support is honestly not that great. It's not that good, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I don't know. Where did I say that? Did Luke say that and you're confusing it with Luke's quotes? I did not say that. Oh, that's funny though. Just me sitting here trying to be like, when did I say that? Did I say that? See, now you got me thinking. I'm like, oh, did I? It's like, what? You never said it. It's a question. Okay. Oh, I put still in there. I'm sorry. I read that as do you still. I don't know why I did that. The text was too small. No, I don't. I think Megabunk's a really good rogue deck. I think the problem is he doesn't really get anything from 13. I think the S-Snake is fine. I think the one-drop Lilith might be actually pretty good. I had talked to my local Vegapunk player. The problem with Vegapunk is like it has everything it needs, but at the end of the day, it's just a variance machine. There's no they had to print some crazy support to make it not the variance lotto machine that it is. And unfortunately, in a 9-round event, winning the lotto isn't that good. And there's so many other crazy mechanical decks out there that even when you're winning the lotto, they can just play around a lot of things. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that. All right, that's gonna be it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you missed this VOD, this stream, it's going to be archived, so go back through and get all the ratings and discussions on the individual cards. If you haven't seen my complete guide, you go on the channel and get that, the OP13, and then with your pre-release guide. Again, if you haven't checked out our sponsored video with Bandai, again, please, if you're not doing anything else tonight, just open it, click that link I just put in chat, open it in a new tab, let it run, on mute even if you want, and leave a comment. It really helps as well. And click the first link for the beginner, it's the bit.ly link for the beginner page. All that really helps us. We're gonna have some more timely stuff coming out with them. This is kind of the first product they really want to push, and unfortunately just came to the end of the month. We have to do it at the end of the month. People have already opened it, so any support on that video is extremely helpful, guys. And good luck at pre-release this weekend. I hope this video helped. I hope the stream helped. I hope the guide helped, and I hope you guys have a great time cracking your packs at OP13. It's gonna be a lot of fun regardless. So just hope you make sure to go out there and have a good time. I'll see you on the next one.